Councillor Ross.
Slow night tonight, Chairman. I think we need to recognise that the ultimate arbiter is government, regardless of the merits or demerits of the individual papers. It is my view that we have a couple of potential problems before us this evening in making the best possible case, the best case possible. We have three proposals which have either a rural or urban bias. We've also lost, as Councillor Corby has mentioned, any broad political consensus, specifically on the needs of the city. And I believe that these two issues can be addressed even at this late stage. Taking Leicester County Council's proposal, the document is simply a rehash of that produced earlier this year. There has been no attempt to follow June's guidance from government to work with other parties, and this simply demonstrates a disregard for the views of the wider public. My specific issues are: this mega county authority, but 4 miles from City Hall, will result in everything being administered in Leicester. The huge disparity in size between the two unitaries surely cannot be acceptable to government and can only be detrimental to the working of any new mayoral authority. Economically, it will focus on the northwest and M1 corridor with the eastern A1 ignored. Secondly, there is little recognition of the wider policy context, such as the implications of the NHS 10-year plan, with its emphasis on neighbourhood partnerships and community care. This means that systems and procedures will require to be fundamentally rethought. Thirdly, there is no evidence of any consideration of best practice or learning from previous local government reorganisation. Fourthly, there's a great emphasis placed on the unique scale economies that the County Council will bring to Rutland and the district councils, yet nothing on innovative thinking. Their emphasis also ignores the fact that many services are customer-facing, and hence economies can typically only be delivered through back office and commissioning procurement services and associated system changes. In summary, the county's proposal is one of the Big Brother knows best, and we in Rutland are to be done to. The document will only serve to confirm in the minds of many Rutland residents why they wanted out of Rutland County Council 30 years ago. So far as the city's proposal is concerned, much like the NCS proposal, they provide considered and radical options in the spirit of the government's invitation. Unfortunately, however, they also see only a two-unitary model. They do, however, demonstrate that their proposals have been formed by learnings from earlier local government reorganisations, and the complex disaggregation process has been considered and resourced. In saying this, it is worth noting, again as Councillor Corby has referred to, that disaggregation at scale in local government has so far taken longer than planned and at greater cost. Their proposal also suffers from too little debate with the districts and counties, and consequently reflects the objectives of the city. So this brings me back to the March political consensus on the need for changed boundaries for the city and why these should still be considered. Briefly, insights from our public health services makes clear the adverse impact of poor housing standards on the health of city residents. To this can be added the illogical separation of the lives of the Foss Park retail centre, populated by shops that were until recently in the city centre. Now, since that initial submission in March, a combination of reduced housing target and increased funding via the Fair Funding Review have greatly weakened the case for the city's favoured Option 1 proposal. I believe, however, that the NCS grouping should at the very least seek to engage with the city's Option 2, incorporating some of the surrounding parishes, and importantly, this would assist in re-establishing some degree of political consensus in our submission to government. This brings me to the NCS proposal, which I think demonstrates all of the features expected by government, and I would certainly be more than likely to be supported by residents across the entire geography of LLR. My criticisms are few. I believe the benefits of the three-centre configuration of unitary authorities could have been developed more fully. For example, the dispersal of employment opportunities and proximity to residents. Secondly, due to the lack of constructive engagement, we NCS have been unable to establish any savings on rationalising areas at a combined city-county Rutland level. My main criticism, however, is that due to the lack of engagement from the county and city, we have a proposal that lacks realism in its deliverability. I say this because we must ultimately work constructively with the city and county if any reorganisation is to be successfully delivered. I see this, and I believe government will see this, as a fundamental weakness in our proposal. In conclusion, I believe the North City South proposal evidences broad engagement across political groupings in Leicestershire and Rutland. This is in contrast to those of this county and city. I will therefore vote for the proposal as drafted. However, I believe that it will be improved if Councillor Waller and her district council colleagues were to include a covering letter to government stating that we regret that the city has chosen not to engage with us in the development of our submission, but we stand ready to discuss the feasibility of the city's option 2 in the interest of all residents and a balanced unitary reorganisation.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Other members